Do you ever look at financial documents and wonder what language they are written in? Or do you wonder what magic your accountant is using at tax time? Or maybe you have read a story about high-worth people using the system to get richer and wondering, how are they doing this? All of this comes down to financial literacy. But if financial literacy is such an important thing, why is it not taught in our schools? Let's take a look at financial literacy and how we can use it to help us along our financial journeys. And please remember, nothing that I say in this video is considered financial advice. For most of us, the final goals of our financial journey are to attain wealth. We all have our own reasons for wanting to achieve this, but for most of us, that goal is to attain some level of freedom. We have all heard the saying that we must learn to walk before we can learn to run. Just as walking provides us with the fundamentals of running, financial literacy gives us the fundamentals of building wealth. In the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author Robert Kiyosaki talks about needing an appropriate foundation. If you are just wanting to build a single-story home, you only need a regular slab for a foundation. But if you are wanting to build a skyscraper, you need to build a very deep and strong foundation. Building financial wealth that resembles a skyscraper requires no less of a strong foundation. But where do you begin? The numbers of the finance world can be very confronting, especially if financial literacy is something that is new to you. Whole pages full of numbers and acronyms, not knowing where to start. In this case, most of us have two options: education or utilize professionals. Now, at many stages throughout our financial journey, it is often recommended that we employ the help of various professionals. But there will always be a need for us to develop our own knowledge. There are plenty of free or low-cost options for education. This can be from both private or government institutions. As we start our financial journeys, having a basic understanding of financial literacy will be enough to get most of us by. Having an understanding of interest, debt, and budgeting is always a great place to start. This will make sure that as we conduct our own research, we are looking into the right options for us. Having a simple level of financial literacy can also allow us to spot potential financial scams. Data from the ACCC shows that Australians lost more than $3.1 billion in 2022 due to financial scams. How much lower could this number have been if more people were financially literate? While some of the scams out there are becoming more and more sophisticated, a simple level of financial literacy would allow most people to identify them and potentially stop having their money taken. By reducing the amount that we are getting scammed, we will not only see financial benefits, but psychological ones as well. Getting scammed causes many of us to have negative psychological associations with money. This negative association will have a negative impact on how we continue along our financial journeys, and that's if we continue at all. As we continue along our financial journeys, we should be looking to continue to increase our financial literacy. After we have completed the debt elimination part of our financial journey and moved into the accumulation phase, the financial literacy requirements will increase. This is due to the increase in complexity in both our strategies as well as the options we utilize to build towards our final financial goals. As we progress through this point of our journeys, not having a basic level of understanding leads to us having the issues we spoke about at the start of this video. Now we need to be aware of compound interest, cost opportunity, and many other principles depending on how we structure our strategies. It is okay if all of this might sound like it is a bit too much right now. For this video, we will cover some of the basics of financial literacy we mentioned earlier. We have already done entire videos dedicated to both debt and budgeting. We highly recommend you go back and watch those. But we will quickly cover those topics here. Budgeting is a tool that we use to highlight where we allocate our money over a given period of time. Budgeting is a very important part of any financial journey, and once you have learnt to budget well, you can begin to take real steps towards your financial goals. The next part of our financial literacy education is debt. Debt is an amount of money that you owe a person or institution. This has a negative effect on your net worth. While debt can be used later in our financial journeys as a wealth building tool, we will not cover that here though. For the purpose of this video, debt is something that we want to remove. Debt is often divided into high interest and low interest debt. And this brings us to discussing interest. Interest is the cost of borrowing money. It is often expressed as a percentage of the amount of money and is charged at regular intervals. The most common exposure of interest many of us have are our mortgage interests. Let's say, for example, that you borrow $800,000 to purchase a house. You agree to pay the lender a certain amount of interest for borrowing that sum of money. At the time of recording this video, the average variable rate for a mortgage in Australia is 6.6%. Now you might say to yourself, 6.6% does not sound like that much. But this is where we start to see the power of interest over time. Over the time of an average loan, you will be paying more than $1 million in interest, and this does not even include the original $800,000 that you borrowed. Having to pay back 2.3 times the original amount is why so many financial journeys begin with eliminating debt. Interest can also be used to recognize financial gains further along our financial journeys as we borrow money to others in the form of investments. Now that we have covered some of our basic literacy topics, there are two more topics that are important for us to understand for our financial journeys, and those are understanding how to identify assets and liabilities. There are many different definitions of both terms, and they often depend on who is making the assessment. There is also plenty of debate about what can or what cannot be classified as an asset. But for the purpose of this video, and for keeping our financial literacy education simple, an asset is something that has value. There are many different classes of assets, and some of these can include stocks or bonds, real estate, businesses, or IP and patents. For the purpose of this video, liabilities will be defined as something that causes debt. This can be financial liability or other forms of payment that are incurred. Throughout our financial journey, many of us will often take on liabilities to obtain assets. This is a common way to build wealth. However, many people often take on liabilities for non-asset items. An example of this is using a credit card to purchase the latest iPhone. So, if financial literacy is so important to building wealth and helping us to achieve our financial journey goals, why are we not taught this in school? Why are important things like budgeting or interest never even covered in schools? The answer to this could be its own video, but to be put simply, schools are not designed to teach us for this stage in our lives. Schooling is a very important part of any person's life, but it is designed to prepare us for the next stage in life. For many of us, when we leave school, we are either employed or go into further study in order to be employed at a different level. Schooling is designed to turn us into good quality employees. The majority of us set financial goals that involve being less employed though. This is why financial literacy is not taught in school, but it is also why it is important that we learn our own financial literacy to help us move along from being employed to going on our own financial journeys. Our lessons of financial literacy are never truly complete. There is always more that we can learn to help increase our understanding. Watching this video alone will not give anyone the amount of financial literacy they need to achieve their final financial journey goals. Now that we have looked into financial literacy and we have begun our learnings to improve this area, we can move further along our financial journeys towards our goals. We have covered important topics such as budgeting, debt, interest, assets, and liabilities. Now that we are equipped with this knowledge, we are able to inform ourselves better on the decisions that we will have to make along our financial journeys. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to Forever Finance so you will know the moment more helpful videos are uploaded. Please consider liking this video so it will reach more people with its help. If you have something that you would like to see us cover, please leave a comment below. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and we will see you all next time.